G'day, beautiful people. Welcome again to your fantastic Monday or Tuesday or Sunday, depending on where you are. Lovely to see everyone in the chat. We're all dropping in saying hello. Wonderful to see everybody. You beautiful, beautiful people. Good to see you here. And today I'm joined by Ricky from Dimensional Cascade. Ricky, mate, how you doing?
I am well, thank you. Yeah, hi everyone.
And so we're going to be talking about a lot of things. When we first met, you emotionally abused me a little bit because your display board for your grots, which I have a photo of and we will look at, is a desecrated Dwarden, like dispossessed, or I'm guessing like previous like dwarf even before that, dwarven hold. So when I saw it, I was like, that's fucking awesome. But at the time, your army wasn't on it. So I didn't know. I just saw this like dwarven kind of mine work, like fortress thing. I was like, that's really awesome. And then I saw your army put on it, and I was like, damn it, you bastard. But it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Your painting's amazing. We'll talk about all that later. How's your day been, man?
It's been great. It's quite lovely down here. The weather's almost as perfect as it can be. So
yeah, it's gorgeous here as well. I think it's almost exactly the same temperature here for summer as it is in winter in Australia right now, which is wonderful. I've left Australia, but I haven't left the temperature, which is great. Everyone in the chat, g'day. Dad Hammer, obviously been moving. Fuck that, and I second that. Just burn all your old shit. Move to IKEA. Move to a new place. Go to IKEA. Buy all new shit.
Grix, move to IKEA.
Yeah, or move to IKEA. Well, didn't somebody try to live in IKEA before they got caught? So you can pull that off. Grixty, the postman's champion himself. Good to see you on your lunch break. Demcast, that's you. Dimensional Cascade, Ricky is in the chat as well. Gorelord coming in with the rage every single time. I love you, you beautiful chunk of human. Good to see you here. Who else? Rocky, your boy. Oh, there we go. Gnome's Bane. Gorgeous. Look at all these beautiful people. Wonderful to see you. In the chat, how's your day been? I am very hungover right now. So today I am drinking. I'm drinking pre-mixed vodka cranberries because I figure the vodka will sterilize whatever hatred's going on inside of me, and the cranberry will be good for my whatever. So that's what I'm drinking. Ricky, are you drinking? Are you having water? Like, what's going on? Where are you? What are you up to?
Yeah, I'm actually drinking water. I'm pretty boring. I just got off my bike riding home, and I'm not even drinking from a glass. I'm drinking from my bike bottle. So that's
hey, look, no, but you know what? Your body's made up of 82% water. So you got to do the right thing there, and put it back in. I feel like I learned something about that in science class. Gnome's Bane is on day 2 of the hangover, that's rough. Yeah, if you're on day 2, that's a big one. Cranberries are antioxidants. Gorelord says I'm fine. I'm not as certain about the vodka. The vodka could be a poor move, but we'll see. Billy Ocean, what's going on in the world? So many different things are going on in the world. The world of war dollies is what we're going to be focusing on today. But just for a heads up for anyone who is in the chat, I'm going to have to apologize for something in advance, and to you as well, Ricky. I kickstarted a game a little while ago called Throw Burrito. And it's basically a dodgeball / card game. It was on Kickstarter. It went really big and it shipped 2 months early. So I received it today. Now, none of this is the apology. What the apology is that my roommate is very excited about this game. Doesn't understand the rules, hasn't even opened that, but you basically get to throw plush burritos at each other. And so
you're just going to get tagged by a burrito randomly?
I'm concerned. I have the door closed and the door opens inwards, so I will have warning. But I'm hoping it doesn't happen. But just on the off chance that I do get assaulted in the middle of this show, I'm just going to apologize in advance for any burrito-related wars.
We can alert the authorities of your...
fuck me sideways. Jesus Christ. Fuck, I just got done. Good. Jesus Christ. Okay, so good. We've started. But the good news is I'm now armed. So that's good. I now have 2 burritos that I can use as a weapon. Fuck off. Okay, this is not a show that I want to be a part of. I'm starting to get really tense, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't even have a lock on this fucking door. Anyway, fuck me. Okay, no, all right. Ignoring it. Moving on. Hey everyone in the chat. Good to see you all there. God, I'm so nervous and tense, and I don't like this at all. Cat Manju just reminding us of the wonderful Nightbot ! Legion command. Orc Boy Phil has a massive headache and can't sleep, and so yeah, that's always a toughie. That is always a toughie. Yeah, I am being attacked by burritos. I am. Yes. Yep, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, good. Okay, let's fucking get back on track. Okay, head in the game. Head in the game. God. Okay. Yep. We're good. We're fine. Everyone in the chat, I'm very sorry for whatever the fuck has just happened. It may happen in the future.
It's alright. It's alright.
It's good. We're fine. Okay. Let's move on to something. Let's move on to everyone's favorite segment. We're moving on to send nudes. NUDES. Nice, unique drawings. Everyone scribbled. Obviously, the only reason that anybody watches this show, and the reward, the reward for joining us early any day, is being a part of the send nudes. And Ricky, obviously, you will be assessing these. You will be passing judgment. Now, you can score them out of whatever you like. 1 week we had out of 10 has been popular. I've also had last week we were scoring out of 12 wars. We were out of 13 1 week. And then 1 week we were scoring out of discrete penises. So, it's good. We can do it in a million different ways. So you can choose how you want to score. So let's go through. So our first send nudes for today. Let me I'll just pop that away there so that we can actually see it. Our first for today, it's a little collage Photoshop jobby thing, I think. Well, not Photoshop. It's definitely not Photoshop. Probably like low bar, but I think it's a play
like MS Paint or something.
Yeah. It's a play on My Little Pony by the looks of things. Because it has the My Little Pony branding, but then there's a big red bar through it that says Magmadroth. So it's My Little Magmadroth. And then down the bottom it says Friendship is melting in lava. So My Little Magmadroth, Friendship is melting in lava. And we have what appears to be a Magmadroth here, vomiting like a rainbow onto Drycha. That's what we're looking at. Now I've got to say, like, I'm a fan. I quite like it.
I am a big fan of this one too. I am very partial to rainbows.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
So I am going to give this. I'm gonna do my ratings based on paint dilutions.
Okay.
So this is a very strong drawing. I feel. So I'm gonna give it just straight from the pot.
Mm-hmm.
No medium.
No, we're not mixing it. We're not watering. Good.
No. This is gonna be a straight up contrast. Athermantic blue.
Ooh,
let's call it that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. That's very bright, very strong. Yes.
All right, I like it. We're now scoring in paint. So, Ethematic Blue, My Little Magmadroth, Friendship is Melting in Lava, gets an Ethematic Blue contrast paint. Nice, fresh. Now this one is actually, like, I'm not gonna lie, this one blew me away when I saw this next one. Now the first thing I want to talk about is the paper that it was obviously on has been scrunched up before the drawing was done on it, so it's got a real nice vibe to it. And I just want to pull up my thing for it so that I can actually get it, see if I have exactly the names of our two artists. Now let me see here what we have. I unfortunately don't have the names of the artists. It's Jerry's two small gits. Let's call them gits. And has basically done in a colouring in section. and basically it's like 3 a.m. wherever they are. So they might be awake, kids these days. And it appears to be like either two squigs playing leapfrog, so one squig leaping over the back of the other one, or it's a mangler squig because one of them is definitely in the air. Look, I gotta say, it's crayon on acrylic. It looks wonderful. We've got tongues and teeth. Like we've got some scribbles and some scratch and whatnot. I gotta say, I'm loving this. I'm loving it. I'm looking. Look, there's like yellow. There's pinks and reds. There's a lovely little mix of colors. So what do we think, Ricky? How are we scoring this?
That one is definitely Flesh Terrors red.
Flesh Terrors red. Yeah, that's a solid Flesh Terrors red.
Yeah, that's a definitely.
Whew. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's that one's playing to my heart. Throwing in the.
I was about to say, yeah, that's right in there. So yeah, there we go. And again, like Flesh Terrors red, probably one of the best contrast paint colors released. Yes. Yeah, I mean, like that's not much of a higher award for a couple of pictures of squigs. So that's going to go straight onto the wall. That's lovely. Good. That's well, wonderful little rounded nudes we had for today. As with every week, if you would like your nudes randomly assessed by whoever the fuck I have on in a particular week, or the chat if I'm flying solo, please send them in during the week, and we'll have a look and we'll see how we go. Now, just quickly, we've got shit to talk about, and we'll talk about lots of other stuff. But before we do, I just super quickly want to touch on Warcry, because apparently it's close. It's only a short way away. We're looking at pre-order this week, I believe. Yeah, definitely. Warcry. Or today I was like, yeah, Warcry. It's on the horizon of our ears, because it's a cry. Like it's not, like Warhammer is a physical thing. Warcry is like like a sound. So the sound of Warcry is coming to us, which is great.
But rolling thunder.
Yeah, exactly. It's just slowly coming closer. And the thing that I think we'd seen glimpses of before, but we actually hadn't seen, were these, which were, I'm just going to pop a little bit on the screen there for those who haven't seen them. The new like beast models that are coming in it. So it looks like you're picking up like like 6 harpies,
tasty,
or 6 whatever the hell they are, the Raptorks. Raptorks, Raptorx. I don't know if that's the thing or not. That's just
I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, they look awesome. I mean, when you compare them to the old harpies, which have aged, they were lovely models, I'm sure, but they've aged terribly. They're like
they're hot garbage compared to these.
Yeah, right. I can see these being big conversion pieces as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, those wings, man. Everybody's gonna want those wings for something.
Yeah, and then and that's the thing, right? You buy one box of this, and that's like, so this is, for those who are watching, this is our other set. This is the like Raptorks, like the devil dog kind of things, and like, so you got like bird wings, and you got like really cool. I just think it's really, really awesome. The looks, the style of it's really wicked, and we're just before, when we were off air, we were talking about the terrain as well, which looks fucking awesome.
Yes, yeah, that terrain, man. I want like 3 or 4 boxes of it. I'm just gonna fill tables with it.
I like how it's like I like how it's been designed as well. Like clearly it's been built off of the Azerite ruins, so it's not.
Yeah.
But it looks clever. Like it looks used. It doesn't look like I'll just slap shit on. It's like, we'll build onto this we could make. Like you can almost see like the construction plans that they had, which I'm kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Capmandrew isn't a big fan because it looks like it's another specialty game, which I do agree. However, I think we saw in 40K, Kill Team was really popular, and because it had those elements. But I personally, I wasn't a huge fan of Age of Sigmar, like Skirmish. It just didn't kind of have it all in there. So I'm probably not rushing out to buy Warcry. I'll probably.
Did you ever try Underworlds?
Yes, I love Underworlds. I think Underworlds is
Yeah,
awesome.
Underworlds is a solid game. Like I just think so good. And so that's what Underworlds is what makes me think Warcry, if it's
Mm.
if anything, it's gonna be good.
I
Because I feel
yeah.
like they did such a good job with Underworlds that I have faith.
I agree. I think they've come a really
Yeah.
long way since Age of Sigmar's first release, when there were just a lot of things that I felt were maybe rushed, because when in that first like year to 18 months, it was like the game came out and you then had to push more and more in there. So yeah, so I'm kind of cool. I'm interested to see what it is. I would love it if it had a little bit more narrative element to it, like old Mordheim, and like to a lesser extent
Yeah.
like Kill Team, like models being able to like level up and get skills and stuff. The problem with old
Hmm.
Mordheim, and if there's any old Mordheim players in the chat, I'm very sorry for what I'm about to say because it'll upset you. But I hated the amount of like work I had to do before and after every game with my warband. Like it's like doing fucking maths
Yeah.
and then like just pages and
Yeah.
pages of shit. Whereas Age of Sigmar Skirmish went the other way. It was too simple. It was too stripped back. So hopefully we can find something in the middle. I love the look of the models. People chiming in like they're just their favorite looking stuff in the chat. Where yeah, the Zinch
Yeah.
ninjas. Yep, definitely. The furries. um, Dad Hammer saying the unmade can fuck off because they're just they're nightmare fuel. Personally,
Yeah.
I want the
Yeah, those guys
birds.
are terrifying.
I'm about the bird people, and I'm gonna see if I can do a whole army painted up like Bird Person from Rick and Morty, just because I think that like, or at least my leader.
Yes.
And then whenever I roll dice for him, I'll do it in a really deadpan voice. Like
Yes, of course.
looking for threes. Yes, he has scored a hit. Only him though. The rest of his team can have personality, just not him. Um, but yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes, what it is. I'm mostly looking at them as conversion options. I won't lie. I looked at
Yeah.
everything. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I could do some sweet stuff with that. What about you? Are you leaning towards any particular team?
Well, of course, I'm going to do the Night Goblin one, which is just buying a pack right out of off the shelf.
Mm.
There was I liked the Snake one that was previewed a while ago. I don't remember the names of any of them.
Yeah, yeah. That's all people know them
Yeah,
as, right? They're like, oh, the
yeah,
ones in furries, the ones in metal, all of that jazz. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So I'm sure I'll pick up one of the starter teams, and then I'll
Mm.
also have my goblins just ready to plug and play.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You go from there and be like,
yeah,
yeah, sweet. Okay, well, that's where we're
yeah,
gonna go. I personally, I probably want to do one of the teams just for their fucking the aesthetic. I think they look so cool. Um,
yeah, yeah,
and just to build
yeah. And
and
it's
paint.
fun to paint.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Yeah,
that's why I loved all of the Underworld stuff. I really liked the game, but able to just pick up a
yeah.
small unit, everyone individual, everyone with a lot of character, because they all effectively were mini heroes. It was
Hmm.
perfect. So yeah, I dug
Yeah, it
down.
was Underworlds is the hobby sampler platter. You're like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
that's
go
true.
in, you're
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna just paint a few models
yeah.
from this faction and a few from that faction, and you get the taste of it, and you're
Hmm.
like, you know what? No, I can't see myself painting a whole army like that. But that was fun.
But it's I
So
guess for me, like I can never see myself doing a whole army of Stormcast. But I actually really loved painting up the all three of the Stormcast teams
yeah,
because I was like, well, everyone has distinct flavor. If I had to paint up 30 fucking Liberators, I'd bottle myself until I was unconscious. Um, so people who played Harbinger Chamber back when it was dirty can go and eat a fat wang. Um, uh, but yeah, a few people chiming in. They're like interested. Yeah, Dad Hammer pointing out it's kind of like Kill Team because you can use your old models in it. Which, like, yeah, they've said that there'll be Grand Alliances will have a place. I'm about it. I'm interested. Gnome's Bane hoping that it carries over some Mordheim stuff, which I am there with you. I want it to do that. I just don't want it to be as complex as Mordheim because for me,
yeah.
Mordheim and I love everything about Necromunda except the game. And I find that so disappointing, right? I want to love it. I really, really want to love it. Um,
I love those new models, yeah, but I've
mm,
never played that game. I
well,
never got into that one.
and I used to watch a lot of people play it, and there was so much fucking bookwork before, during, and after the game that you only played the game for like a third of the time you spent actually doing it. So
Ugh,
I
yeah,
very much am not super like losing my marbles about it. But at the same time, I'm kind of keen to see where it happens. Goldbear saying, am I sounding a bit quiet? Let me know if it's still. I'll let me just play with that a little bit. Maybe I have accidentally brought something down a little. See how we're going there. Let me know if that fixed it. Because I would like to hear what the words that you put at me. I'd love you to hear my words back. Otherwise, this is a bit of a waste. But yeah, I'm kind of keen to get into it and just do it. And you are right. It's like a sampler platter, which I'm very excited about. People agreeing with you. The snake dudes seem pretty... Oh yeah, no, Dad Hammer giving us the names for them. The unmade, I think... The unmade are the most interesting for me. I love the idea that they cut off their own faces and wear them on their belts. I don't love...
Yeah, that was dark.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, fuck me.
I
was like, that's kind of really intense. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But at the very least,
do we know if they're gonna do War Scrolls for them for just Age of Sigmar?
I would imagine so. Right? Like, I'd be super surprised if they didn't, because
I use my Underworlds crews pretty often, especially Zarbag and his Gits. He's like, not all of them are good, but not all of the Underworlds crews are good. But that particular one is really solid. So, if they do that, then it's just more reasons to collect cool models.
Yeah, and like at the very least, they're not the disappointing thing for me is they're not all created equal. Like, the Briar Queen spell is fucking spectacular. Like, pick a point.
Right, okay.
Everything within 6 inches of that point is half movement. Like, and I think it's like an 18-inch range or something. Like, it's awesome. And Zarbag is by far the best of the best. But you actually saw... I remember seeing some lists that were rocking, like, Fast Riders in it. Or lists that'd take like the Iron Skulls just to drop on an objective. So it'll actually be really cool to see those, because I think that's the thing. And that was, to be honest, the thing that actually kind of disappointed me about the Kradron Overlord Underworld thing was you had an Ether Chemist as the leader. I was like, shit, yeah, because they're the ones everyone uses. I was hoping he'd have some different rules or something different about him. Because I was like, that'd be really, really cool, because then suddenly you've got a unit, like you've got a different hero for them. But unfortunately, it was pretty much just exactly the same. But still, they're very cool. Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of cool to see them get in there. So yeah, it'll be good. Gorelord's saying the metal shit is giving him a hobby boner. Yep, sweet. Yep. Gnomesbane saying that you want to say you saw them and they'd be usable. So Gnomesbane saying you potentially have seen and they will be usable, which is cool.
Oh.
Dadhammer.
Yeah, I think this.
Dadhammer commenting and saying that they'll probably be hoping for, or knows that they'll be Slaves to Darkness, which is cool. But yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm maybe a little disappointed that they don't seem to be multi-kit. However, when it's for a game like this, like Underworlds, like this, I'm fine with them to be monopose. But I would hope if they expand on this down the track, they give us some multi-kits, because that would just be fucking cool. For those of you drinking along at home, I am on to drink number 2, so you need to up your game. just for those playing the alcoholic drinking story. So Dadhammer pointing out that the story is that it's Archaon calling to war. So hopefully this would lead to something cool, which would Oh
yeah, that would be super cool.
Yeah,
I think certainly Slaves to Darkness needs more support.
For me, they're my
just like more mortals, Yeah. And it's the opposite is true. Like, free people needs more support and more models. So I think if they were to just kind of focus on what are the actual humans in this, new mortal realms doing, then, whether the good ones or the bad ones, then I think I'm in.
Yeah, for me as well, I find the two things I find the most interesting in Age of Sigmar are free people and Slaves to Darkness. Now, and there was recently a book, I read Nagash the Undying King, which I guarantee, Dad Hammer, you're in the chat. I guarantee you've read that book. And that has that basically it looks at a human, like a living human, worshippers of Nagash that live in the realm of death, and I found them really, really interesting. And because they've always been my favorite, because they were basically like the human aspect. In the same way that I love reading, the only stories I read from 40k are Imperial Guard stories, because I'm like, they're wicked, and I can relate to that. As a human being myself, I struggle to relate to an orc. Now, that's not to say anything about British viewers, because obviously our British viewers relate very strongly to orcs, in both...
Is that true, Billy Ocean? Are you relating pretty well with those orcs?
Yeah, possibly. We'll find out. Well, look, let's just say in dental hygiene and temperament, and intelligence. No, but I knew that'd get you back in, Lugnuts. Also, welcome back. Lovely to see you. You do. Billy Ocean doesn't relate to cranberry vodka drinkers. It's because I'm hungover. And I figured that I need to both take hair of the dog that bit me, but also try to do something good for my liver, because it's pulling some big shifts for me right now. Yes, Undying King, Gorelord. Yes, that was the book, and it was really, really awesome. I agreed. You're saying in the chat, what made you want to make a Mortal Death Army? It made me want to make a Mortal Death Army. It actually humanized Nagash, which was kind of cool, as like this weird geriatric fuck who just like one of my favorite things was like Arkan the Black basically summons him to ask him to save his people, and Nagash rocks up and starts monologuing about how important he is and all the shit he's done and the disrespect he's shown and how Sigmar's a dickhead. And Arkan is basically just kneeling in front of him. And Gorelord will back me up on this. And he's just basically just like, oh, fuck, here we go again. Just every fucking day. It's the same shit with you. And I like the idea that Nagash shows up and starts just going on these big monologues about like, oh, fuck it, the rest of the realms, the other gods, blah, blah, blah. And all of his worshippers are just patiently listening to him being like, yep. And they're just going like, we have to sit through 2 hours of this, and then he'll decide whether he's going to save our kingdom or not.
And we've all been in meetings like that at work.
Oh,
too.
yeah, definitely.
It's just the worst.
Yeah, where it's like I know that it's happened to me a couple of times, where the big boss of the company is there and talking to you, and you're like, this is not new information. Thank you.
Yeah, we all hate the client. Let's move on.
Now, the client's a fuck. Now, can we get back to when I asked you if we can have 2-ply toilet paper, or if we have to keep using sandpaper every time we go to the dunny? So it was great. But it was very much, I love that book because it basically showed me that that's the long tangent. So ! Tangent for those of you playing with Nightbot. That's the long tangent from me preferring the humans of the mortal realms, because I feel like I get more out of them, which is why I also loved the new Gotrek Realm Slayer audiobook, because it very much looked at like the
I
domestic.
bought that one, but I haven't listened to it yet, so I'm excited.
I really dig it, because it goes from very high, very grand fantasy wars and shit like that to very small minutia, which I really, really dug. Excuse me. But yeah, I that's why I really hope Slaves to Darkness get it, because the thing is that not everyone who worships chaos is a chaos worshipper, which I remember reading something about a little while back that I thought was absolutely so awesome, because it's like they live in the realm of fire, they live in chaos lands, and they might be like a barbarian tribe who worship a warrior god. Now that warrior god is Khorn, but it's not that they're necessarily bloodthirsty. They might just be kind of like always seeking a bigger challenge. They want to prove their worth and their might. They're not necessarily chaotic lunatics. They're just, that's their thing. Or they might be like I don't know. I'm just trying to think about Slanesh. People who are all about excess. And you think about the 40k aspect of that, which was the Emperor's children wanting perfection and striving to be the perfect soldiers, which led them down that path. Like I could see that so cool. So I love Slaves to Darkness. I want more stories about them, and I really want more range for them. Same with Free Peoples, because I think they're the same, right? They're the people that the Stormcast end up counting their victory against, right? Because Stormcast at the end of the day, I imagine, are just like, we saved 600 civilians today, and everyone's like, oh my god, what a difference we made. Let alone like there's like 2,400 people that they didn't save that are dead.
Right.
But like I feel like Free People are there in the statistic, right? Like that's, and so I'd like more stories about them, about like one dickhead on a wall with a rifle next to a Stormcast being like, what the fuck am I gonna do? But yeah, do you have a particular favorite, like, or do you have something like that, like where you would like to see more stories from, like a point of view that you would like to read more about?
Personally, I still want to know what happened to the dispossessed myself. So I was a huge back in 8th edition. And even before that, I was a huge fan of Karak 8 Peaks.
That's actually such a good story.
When we talk later about my display board, that's actually what that was to be for.
Oh, wicked! Cool.
And I always wanted I always wanted to know, what happened to Skarsnik. I always wanted to know what happened to what was his name, Queek Headtaker, and all those guys. I felt like I never had closure on all of that.
They never let us know what happened to it. They built up all these cool characters.
It's implied, right?
Yeah, they created all these cool characters and then kind of just like ticked them off really quickly. Actually, you know what? Speaking of, while we're on it, why don't we have a look at your display board? So, for those of you who weren't here when we started, when I met Ricky at the Wet Coast GT, I saw this wonderful display board. It's like a dwarven cavern with a well-made, sturdy dwarf construction-looking bridge. And his army wasn't on it. His army was on the table. And I looked at it, I was like, that is an awesome thing. He's probably a Fire Slayers player, or like a dispossessed player, or a mixed order player. Shit, yes. And then as you may have gathered, I'm going to flick to a picture of it right now that I got off your Twitter. It was covered in grots. It was just fucking covered in grots and trolls because, of course, his display board is a desecrated dwarven cavern. Which is, like that's hideous. It's disgusting, and it emotionally hurt me. And I immediately revised my opinion of you to include a few more swear words and like aspersions to your illegitimacy. But it's awesome. I like, much like we were talking, I'm no dad. Hammer's going to love this because of the fact that it tells a story. But yeah, for those who don't know, Karak 8 Peaks was like the second most prominent dwarven city in the old world.
It was like the old capital, wasn't it?
Everpeak was the number one, and Karak 8 Peaks was number 2, basically. And then things went bad. The Coming of Chaos. This is like back before the game was even existed, like the pre-story. Then the Coming of Chaos like cracked it all open. Skaven and fucking goblins, basically, like it was a huge country-sized city, basically built around these 8 mountains. And goblins and Skaven took over pretty much all of it. And for the entirety of the Warhammer, the story of the old world and the Warhammer existence, the dwarves were trying to take it back. And what you're looking at right here on the screen in front of you, for those who can see it, is an exact image of that shitness.
The actual concept for it, was the underways. You know how in the old lore there was all these underways where the dwarves had carved out these underground highways from whatever hold to whatever hold. And in this one, they hit this. My theory was they hit an old dried up wet cavern, but was dried up, but that had a little spot that they had to build a bridge over. So they built a little bridge over it. So that top right hand corner where you see my dice tucked into little arch there that actually has a void that goes back, and in my mind that was, on its way over to Carrick 8 Peaks. This was
Yeah.
the causeway.
This was the bridge that they built that allowed your little tribe of goblins to come and fuck up their shit.
Yeah.
And the other, so for those who like their history lore, and I know Dad Hammer will get a kick out of this, and I love you for it. The dwarves of the old Warhammer world would like build secret vaults into just about everywhere that were almost impossible to detect because they used rune magic, not real magic. So It was actually one of the worst things for dwarf players was the knowledge how many dwarves in the lore went there to, because basically they knew that Carrick 8 Peaks was full of like ancient and incredibly powerful weapons and shit like that. And if you could get one, you were pretty much a god. So like you just think about the thousands and thousands of dwarves who probably died trying to get them, and now their bones are just covered in fucking goblin poop. It's really disappointing.
Yep. Yeah, and so it was overrun by which one was first? Do you remember if it was Skaven or the dwarves first, or the Grots first? I can't remember.
Yeah, I
which
think
took it over first.
I think it was kind of all of them. 'Cause I know some of them. It was like the cracks broke through the walls and through underground, and then they were like Skaven came up and goblins came in. Dwarves were never specific.
Yeah.
They were just basically like shit that wasn't dwarves turned up, and we were unhappy with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the whole order. But so what it was is I built this board thinking that I could use it for any of those three armies, because I actually have a whole Skaven army. And I was working on my Dwarven army about the end time. And so I never finished them. But, I have and I'll find a link and post it here in the chat in a second, of my hammers that I made, which were... I called them the Blood Guard of Carrick 8 Peaks. So they were supposed to be the King's Guard for Carrick 8 Peaks, the King. And they have let's see, I gotta find where is my Warhammer stuff? Click, there we go. And they, sorry, that's not good audio, but
no, fucking no.
Here it is. This will be coming to chat momentarily. And if you click on this, you should be able to bebop around on other stuff. So Belagar, Belagar.
Yeah, Belagar Ironhammer, that's the one.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was like the king that had taken it back, but they'd only taken back like 10% of it. It was great, and I don't think they ever did, which is it's one of those beautiful, for me it's one of those beautifully sad stories, and I really like that.
So were they like the last point that they kind of left us was Skarsnik was in there. He kind of had one or two of the mountains. And
Queek had one or two as well.
Queek had one or two, and the dwarves had a couple of them, and they were just constantly fighting. And I always thought it would be great to get like a whole go to a team event with 4 players and have the Carrick 8 Peaks,
the team
with 2 dwarves, some night goblins, and a Skaven.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, the last thing I remember happening in that story, right, and it broke my fucking heart. So that probably tells you the end. Is the dwarves hired a whole bunch of ogre man-eaters under Golfag Man-Eater to basically help them. And then fucking Skarsnik or Queek, one of them, paid him off. And basically, like, so this big battle was going on, and Queek had fucking shown up, and Skarsnik had fucking shown up, and Belagar was there, and I think a couple of the other big ones were. They were like, shit, yeah, we're going to do this. And of course, then the ogres turned on them and started fucking up all the dwarves. And basically, I'm pretty sure that the old world ended with no living dwarves in the 8 Peaks. And Dad Hammer points out, poor Gobbler died. Gobbler did die. So yeah, it was a devastating end. But at least Queek got fucking bear hugged to death, so I'm fine with that. A dwarf king basically grabbed him and squeezed him until he popped like a sack of potatoes. It's a beautiful board. It's wonderful, and your painting is amazing as well. You'll see down at the bottom of the screen, it's scrolling across at Ricky_Fisher on Twitter. You put up a lot of your photos of your painting and stuff, and it's just fucking awesome. So go and have a look at that.
Yeah,
they're wicked.
Yeah, you can check it out on Flickr. Most of the old stuff is still there. Yeah. I was on Tale of Painters for a long time, so you can see a lot of this stuff up there as well. It's still in the archives, but
it's beautiful. So did you, I guess my question is, did you love making this display board? Are you planning on doing others now, like very Mortal Realm inspired stuff, or where are you thinking you're going?
Yeah, so I have a huge problem now that this board, even as big as it is, it can only hold about a quarter of my collection at a time for the grots.
For the grots, yep.
Yeah, so I intend that I have a new goal going since the book came out of painting and playing with every unit in the book in a tournament.
Wow. Okay. Good.
If you look at the photo here, you can see the king. He's up there on that little shelf on the right, and he was the one that was included for this round.
Right.
And the trolls that are down there have been the last couple rounds before that, and so I'm just slowly getting stuff painted and working it into a list, and then taking it to an event. But the problem with that is if I want to show off the whole collection, I can't.
You've got no way to do it. So more pragmatic, effective boards in the future?
So I'm thinking that this board, even though it is 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot square, it might need to just be bigger.
So a second board beside it?
No. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is make it almost have wheels on the bottom and make it about 2 foot by 2 foot wide and deep, but then 6 feet tall.
Okay,
and have several layers of various grot caverns. So you might have a spider lair, and you might have a squig lair, and you might have the realm gate with all of Scraggrot's crazy loons in there. So the Gobblepalooza, that's what they're
That's
called.
the one. Yeah, the one that nobody uses because apparently it's ridiculously overpointed.
Oh, I'm going to use them.
Of course, you've got to, right? If you're going through all of them.
Oh, yes. I actually think I have a list that might help them shine. Plus, they came down in points a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
I've saw a few people being like, they came down in points. I'm still not using them, but I'm glad they came down in points. I reckon what you should do then, your top layer needs to be like the floor, like the earth, and the top layer needs to be an open sky.
I was gonna have the top one be like a mountain that had been, like the Loon Shrine has a great big moon. I was gonna have it be a mountain that looks like a moon.
It's basically just what you're planning on doing is like a topographical, like vertical section. Like this is how we get to the core of one of the mortal realms.
Yes.
Now I have bad news for everybody at home. I have run out of mixer, so I'm now just drinking straight vodka. So if you are drinking at home, you are no longer allowed to drink anything other than straight spirits. In solidarity with my in solidarity with my hideous hangover. Billy Ocean saying that the bottom layer should be Scraggrot's shroom party den, with everybody who's been fucked up by the moon on a stick. I dig that. Dad Hammer talking about something that never happened and we don't need to relive, which was not the death of a character that I ever want to remember. Vanilla Jasass, or how I've now learned that it is actually just vanilla sauce. But I am still going to call you. I am still going to call you Vanilla Jasass because I like it. It's like you could attach spiders upside down under the bridge, like they're crawling along it. That's very appropriate.
Yeah. Actually, the spiders I was thinking would be closer to the surface.
Yeah,
I'm not sure yet. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they need to eat, things need to get caught in their webs, and usually spiders catch insects. And surely the mortal realms have some big fucking Sylvaneth insects for them to catch.
Yeah, and I wanted the spiders to be the elevators too, for the whole thing.
So, that's great. Just some big Arachnarok spiders with like web pulleys that like pull everyone up and down. Beautiful. Perfect.
Just running. Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
Pretty funny. So the building this thing is because even this display board took me a month of actual just building it, and probably, I was probably planning it for a month before that, and it wasn't that hard to build. Like if you look in my Flickr stream, I actually have how I built it. There's some little things on it. It's just foam and doing this and that. But building a big tall one like that, also the transport is tough.
That'd be a pain in the ass.
Because this one, like I've taken it to Memphis and back east for Masters, and to LVO, and a couple times to LVO.
It's well traveled.
Every time I have to. Yes, it is, and it's held up, thankfully. But I always have to put in this great big, 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot like heavy corrugated double wall box.
Yeah, to actually get it there safely.
Yeah, and it almost costs as much as getting me there usually. So.
You have to get on the plane with like a second seat beside you for this thing.
Yeah.
I will say the thing that you've done, which I love a good display board. I made a light up Cadron Overlord one with like big light up clouds. It was like an ether gold facility. And so I put like color change LEDs in it and shit like that, so the clouds all change color. But the thing that you've done here, I love a good display board. I love ones that tell a story. I hate the story it tells, but I love that it tells a story. And can I just say, the little thing that when I saw your board that really excites me, and you can see it on the screen right now, is that you blacked out the back caverns. I think something that people with display boards often forget about is the background. And so if you didn't black those gaps out and you just put it down, I can see stuff through it, which kind of defeats it. But when you've got the blacked out cavern, suddenly it becomes like all gloomy. And anyway, it's a very small detail that I really actually quite dig.
It helps people focus on the paint too. If you do something like that, where you can put, a not busy background behind your models, it helps people see your paint better.
Yeah.
One of the mistakes I made was the very back there behind the upper bridge. I trimmed that swoopy back part down just a little too low, I think. I probably should have kept it a little higher, just so that it would provide models that are up on the bridge a better backdrop, so you don't have that visual noise behind it all the time.
But at the same point though, like having a bit more there kind of gives it a little bit more exposure on the bridge for such short models. But who knows what fucking models are going to be on it next, because you need your entire army on there.
Eventually the whole thing has to go on there.
Lugnuts to Mad is just really stoked, and I'm going to translate into English. Really happy for the goblins for murdering the short-statured dwarves. Very excited about that. Vanilla Sass, again, I know how to pronounce your name. I'm just never going to do it right because I enjoy getting it wrong now. Is saying that apparently he remembers your missus offering to sell the display board just so that you wouldn't have to go through the trouble of getting it home after the Wet Coast GT, apparently.
Yeah. That's not surprising.
Fair. That's it.
So we have a tiny 1-bedroom condo, and this thing just
lives,
in the bedroom. It sits on top of the box that I used to ship it around, and so like I have to step around it to get in bed every night.
Beautiful.
No. Like she curses it, like I even curse it too. But then I'm like, well, I got a tournament, so I gotta take it.
I'm sorry, but let's be honest. We do war dollies because it makes us happy. And can you put a price on your happiness? I bet you can't. I bet you can't put a price on your happiness, and that's fine. Now, we have been talking shit for a little while, so I am contractually obliged for us to talk some serious stuff for a moment. And that's why we're going to do recent results. We're going to talk about recent events results. Oh my gosh.
Oh, sweet.
Finger on the button. Let's talk about some events that went on over the weekend in Age of Sigmar. We're going to be a hot, fresh news outlet where we talk about shit. Let's be honest, that's not going to happen. But we're going to have a look at some shit. So recent results. Let's start with.
Looks like Vanilla Sauce saw the devoted to Sigmar.
Yes, and I promise you, we will be talking about that in just a moment. I swear to you, we will talk about that. The first thing that we're going to talk about, though, is some results that we've got coming out of England and America. So the festival was the Rage of Sigmar event held at the Loon Curse, Loon Shrine Cafe, Bad Moon Cafe. That's the one in over in the UK. Apparently a spectacular place. Haven't seen it yet. But first went to Disciples of Zinch. Yep, I know. I'm sure you're happy. I'm sure you're happy about its location. It's apparently like a gaming cafe thing. I just want to live there because I exist on coffee, whiskey, and war dollies. So those three things in one location, that could make me happy as long as they have some booze. Get a liquor license. So the first place we've got Disciples of Zinch. Second, Legion of Grief. Legion of Grief coming in second, and third was Stormcast Eternals. Now, Ben Sava, I believe, was the Legion of Grief player. I might have that wrong, but he's so hot right now. But Legion of Grief, which is, let's be honest, that was basically Nighthaunt getting Legions of Nagash like abilities, right? Like that's effectively what Legion of Grief was. Which, given how often we saw Nighthaunt played in Legions of Nagash, is probably a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because now I think they're just going. I think Legion of Grief is basically just going to take over where Legions of Nagash was with the price hike. Because I don't know about you, so please feel free to correct me if you have a different experience. But my experience of successful Legion of Nagash stuff was like Grand Host of Nagash with Nagash and 30 to 60 Grimghast Reapers, and then some dogs and probably a Necromancer. Those were the lists that seemed to be doing really well. Did you experience anything different in Death?
No, that's basically what I experienced too. Was like Nagash, a big block of Grims. They slammed into my Fanatics. I murdered them, and he went, "What?" And then I managed to kill Nagash and the Necromancer in the same turn too. And
that's big.
They scooped.
That's big. Because that's not only killing them, that's killing the two other times that he'd bring back those 30 Grimghast Reapers. But Fanatics are terrifying. Spore Splatter ones I think are actually tactical, which is lovely for Grots.
I love Spore Splatters.
But so Legion of Grief coming in second with a very good general there. Disciples of Zinch getting first. It was a change host, which while I'm disappointed that it's like change host is the obvious go-to, I actually like seeing Disciples of Zinch doing well. And I know that that's really disappointing. But I think for so long we fucking hated on Disciples of Zinch because they just relied on dumb fucking overpowered Skyfires or Enlightened or just alpha striking you off the board. And now Disciples of Zinch are winning through tactical, cunning play, which is how they should have always won. So I hate to admit it, because I used to really rage against it. If people were like, "Oh yeah, play Disciples, I play Zinch," I'd be like, "You're a fuck."
Yeah, so I got to play against. I was at an event this weekend, and of course I had, as you do at small local events, you always end up playing with at least one or two of the guys that you went to the event with.
Yep.
And so I ended up playing Matt, who in the channel is right now is This Is Not Madeline. That is Matt.
Yeah, Pashby?
No, Beasley.
Beasley.
Yeah, the guy who won Wet Coast, right?
Yeah, the guy.
Did he win? He won with like the Zinch Enlightened face punchy list, right? And this weekend he was playing his change host, and what my experience with it is, it was a lot of fun to play against, and it was clearly a lot of fun for him to play with, but it was a huge time sink because it basically has two of every phase, and it plays in every phase. You know, like a Grot list, you might have one unit of Trogs that shoot Whoopee that takes 3 seconds to resolve. But with him, he's got to shoot everything. He's got to summon everything. He's got to change everything.
Swapping movements, so you're moving and redeploying, and
And he's an exceptionally fast player, but we still rushed to get through turn 4. And so for the person to take first with the change host, I'm not surprised, because it's such a strong. There's just so many tools, but I just wonder how many of those games they actually finished.
Yeah. I really do think though that what Change Host is going to become for me is what Bone Splitters, the Cunning Ruck was, and what we saw the fucking big lots of Fire Slayers pre-book when they were like 90 to 120 Fire Slayers with re-rollable armor saves and then 4-up save after saves and like re-rolls to hit.
Just tar pits.
Yeah, but ultimately I remember Mike, friend of the show, who's been on the show before, plays Fire Slayers. And he played at CanCon he played at CanCon every year, but he played at CanCon a couple of years ago with 90 Fire Slayers, I believe, and got to turn 5 of every one of his games. And he was like, I knew my army was slow, so I made myself as efficient as possible. And another bloke in Australia who plays just the shit out of... He loves himself Skaven. He plays all of the different Skavens. And I remember playing against him with 2 blocks of 40 clan Pestilence clan...
Plague Monks.
Plague Monks, that's the one. And hundreds and hundreds of attacks every turn, and then piling and attacking when you died. But we got to... Well, I played him 2 events a row. We got to turn 5 every event because he knew his army was slow, and so he had practiced, and he didn't hesitate on decisions. He was like, it means I might make mistakes, but I don't have time to fuck around and consider stuff because I chose to play an army that is a slow playing army. And I think Change Host, you are 100% right. I'd love to know how many games went to turn 5. And it's disappointing that it is a thing that not everyone's aware of, but I think the good players who are taking it to tournaments and do well in tournaments will play fast with it. And that's all you really need to do. Like, if you know you're running a slow list, play efficiently. Vanilla just saying that it's playing Change Host is like playing 4D chess, and that's probably fair.
It is. It's and I personally, playing against it, I felt it was a lot more fun than just getting punched in the face by Enlighten. Because it felt like, I didn't just get units deleted. I actually had an option to fight back, and then it became, now can I retreat and actually go score or something? So it was a much more interesting game to play against, and I enjoyed that. But this is his first event with Change Host, so I bet you after 4 or 5 more games, he would have it down to a science.
And that's right? You get it to so efficient that you're like, this. And like you're saying, right, that's what I love about seeing Tzeentch do well now, is that you're not talking about Tzeentch beating you by just fucking your shit up hard. You're talking about Tzeentch beating you at War Dollies because they actually kind of outplayed. It was tactical play, which you have to try and think about and play against. Lugnuts to mad. I understand that tactics is a terrifying thing that only weak people would use because orcs don't need tactics. They just need to be super strong. I understand. But I am obviously talking to the lesser evolved species who don't understand the intricate complexities of orc society. So I'm very, very sorry. But yeah, I love that we're seeing Tzeentch do well. Legion of Grief, unsurprising. The Stormcast Eternals list that got 3rd was an Anvils of Helden Hammer with 9 long strike crossbows, which is... it's a good list, but I do think it needs to have a good draw to go podium, if that makes sense. Do you think that's fair? Am I being mean saying that, Ricky?
I don't know. The event we were at this weekend, he had way more than 9 crossbows, and he podiumed. So I think it's there. I think the shooting, this meta needs shooting, because you have things like Slanesh and Gristlegore, and I think we need those brave Stormcast players who know how to play. Play smart with their pew pew. We need them in the meta to check those people and keep them honest. And so I feel like I believe that that's because the list that we saw this weekend, it was, we were talking about it in our chat. It had 3 very basic units of Liberators, 5 strong, and then the rest was long strikes. And I think it was 2 of 6, 1 of 9, with the Aether Wings and 4 characters.
Wow.
And I think he won every game and tabled most people. And I think, and so that's Jack Ballard, who over from Rerolling One's channel.
And did relatively well with a toned back long strike list at Wet Coast as well.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not surprised to see Stormcast with long strikes up there. I think people got so in love with the ballista that they overlooked everything else.
Yeah.
And now that I don't think the 10-point raise was enough, but I think it just encouraged them just a tiny bit to look at some other stuff or just try some other stuff.
Or it was like, you can't now do sequitors as your battle line with it, or just, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, it's those little things where it's like suddenly you can't have judicators and ballastas. I agree that 10 points wasn't necessarily enough, but, it kind of did things that were good, and so it's like, well, that's helped. But I think that Anvils of Heldenhammer with shooting in the previous meta it needed a good matchup, it wasn't good, but we are very much in a meta that's brought shooting back, which I'm excited for. Because
the old meta was very horde heavy and infantry heavy, and you would take these shooting, like me and Jack have never drawn each other at a game, and if we did, he would probably spend a couple turns trying to shoot off 60 goblins. He could get there, but he would have to do some work for it. There probably is some strength of schedule going on there, but I also think that we have these big supercharged juggernaut armies right now, and those Stormcast guys, I appreciate them being there.
And that's it, right? We've seen the rise of some of these armies, like Flesh Eater Courts and Slanesh, that they're so dominant in the combat phase that naturally shooting has become a stronger part of the meta, just because you need to be able to kind of like counter that. Dadhammer, so just going back a conversation, who plays, Scourge Privateers, often has like hundreds, 300, 400 shots a turn. And so it's like, I am so efficient with my dice. And I think you do have to be for some of those horde armies. But I'll be interested to see where shooting goes, because I really think that we will start to see a very, very cool back and forth between armies that are great at shooting and armies that are great in combat, and that arm wrestle between the two. And then you've got things like Grotz and probably Nurgle, who are really great like debuff armies that'll just be in the middle. And I think we're going to see some of those debuff armies start to podium more and more often, because they have these two wonderful people either side, the fighters and the shooters, and they'll just be like, well, we'll just make none of you be able to hit. And then everyone will be like, oh, shit. So we saw that was the Rage of Sigmar. It's not unexpected, but cool to see Tzeentch get up there. And I never thought I would say that I'd be excited to see Tzeentch do well. And there you are. Now, the American Team Championships, the ATCs, I've only got our first place team. So it was teams of 4. Each list had to be from a different Grand Alliance, and the winning team was Stormcast Eternals, Flesh Eater Courts, Gloomspite Gitz, and Skaven Tide. Now, the Stormcast, I believe, was also an Anvils of Heldenhammer army. The Flesh Eater Courts was Gristlegore with a King on Terrorgeist, a King on Zombie Dragon, an Abhorrent Archregent, and then a Ghoul Patrol. So, like, turn 1, it's summoning like 700 points of shit. So it's a 2,700 point army. I can't remember what the Gitz army was. I'm so sorry. But the Skaven Tide, I believe.
Well, I would. Yeah. If it's a team game, I hope the Gitz is just all Gitz. You just want a tar pit. You want to be their tar pit.
You're the one where they're like, we can't beat it, but we can feed it Grotz. But and Skaven Tide it had the Warp Lightning Vortex. And I believe it was minimum clan rats, and then plague monks, and a couple of vermin lords, and Thankwall as well. Like fucking Thankwall surviving the end times, fucking piece of shit, unimportant. But like Skaven Tide, I think word for word is the strongest book in Age of Sigmar at the moment, just because it's got so many wonderful options. I don't think it's underpointed. I don't think it's anything. I just think it's so flexible. You can really do a whole lot of cool stuff with it. Lugnuts Demad in the chat, obviously real stoked that we were talking about Kun and Ruck just for like the 600 fucking range shots it gets to shoot every turn. Just wanted to talk about that. But yeah, I also think that it's not surprising that we see a team made up of 4 of the stronger books taking out first place as well. But their team name was about like alcohol and drinking, so I completely am about them. I support them. It makes me happy.
What was the name?
That's a good question. I remember looking at it when I was sober and being like, "That's a great name." And then now, wait, hold on. I'll find it. Give me a second. Hold on, chat. We're making for great TV. I thought I would like just like stall, and then I'd be like, I'll think about it. Well, no, I was like, it'll come to me. I know it's there, but it will come to me. I think it was something about grain. I feel like it had something to do with grain. Wait. We're almost there. We're searching. We're getting there.
Processing.
It was Grain Alliance alcohol. Grain Alliance alcohol.
Oh.
Obviously, lots of alcohols made out of
That's
grains.
funny.
Grand Alliance it's a great alcoholic pun, and I'm all about it. The Fosters, fuck off. It wasn't anything to do with Fosters, and everybody knows that's a lie of a drink. But really cool results, and also kind of cool. Like I think I actually reckon Gloomspite is pretty competitive at the moment. I think it's just taken people a while to get their armies ready. So yeah, good seeing them get up there.
Yeah. I've got a winning record with them. I had one tournament where I went 0-3, but that was I went all trogs. So otherwise I get a winning record. So
I mean, trogs are scary. It's just disappointing that a trog army isn't competitive. In the same way that it disappoints me that a giant army isn't competitive.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to, the Ale Guzzer's in the book, so I'm gonna have to play him. So I'm probably gonna go all in and try it for 4 if I can.
Well, I won't lie. I've written a mixed destruction list using the Firestorm Allegiance for destruction with 3 Gargants in the mercenary formation, because like fuck it, you may as well have the Grug brothers, and 1 Gargant's good, 2 Gargants are great, 3 Gargants change the fucking meta. Quote me 2019. So that was a couple of the results that were very, very cool. Now this next one though, this is a thing. This is a thing that I don't know how I feel about, and chat, I am sure that you're going to be interested. It's the thing that's caused Scrivo, our art monkey, to have to do a new piece of art, and that's the results from Northern Invasion. Now, as I've listed it and titled it here, it's recent results and abnormalities that are beyond comprehension, which make no sense. Now, the reason for that, anyone in the chat will notice, in first place we had Hedonites of Slaanesh. Very competitive army.
Sure.
Where Ricky, we'd expect, Hedonites, doing pretty well. Third place, Blades of Khorne. Not necessarily top, like the most crushingly top tier, but we're seeing them do well.
I faced them this weekend, and I barely won that game. I feel like they're in a good place.
They are not struggling. No. But second is the one that's interesting. Now, for those listening at home, we buried the lead pretty hard here, but second went to Devoted of Sigmar. Now, for those who don't know, they're the priests. It's like nothing. Fucking yeah.
So when you told me this earlier, I actually had to look up what the model range was because that's how little.
They're so tiny.
They just.
Let's.
I was like, Devoted of Sigmar, I know them. And then I looked and I was like, oh, really?
No, I don't. So Devoted of Sigmar have a grand total of 6 war scrolls, one of which is a formation. So their hero options are the Excelsior War Priest, which was the dude with the Gryph-hound from Warhammer Quest, the original, a Warrior Priest, a Witch Hunter, and a War Altar of Sigmar, which is like a big chariot with a priest on the back of it. Then they have... That's it. So 4 heroes, and then 1 unit. And that 1 unit is Flagellants, who are the naked robed dudes who like whip themselves as much as the enemy. That's it. That's their whole fucking selection. Like, Dadhammer, you might think you've got it rough with the fucking Scourge Privateers. I believe you have more options. And they came in second. Now, this is, I believe, now LLV, I think you're in the chat, but you might have ducked off, which is fine because we're in different time zones, which is super disappointing, but that's okay, I'll get over it. But I believe we have no data for Devoted of Sigmar as it is. I know that a few people are doing them because they are kind of interesting. Ash McEwen, a very talented player out of Australia, is doing an army of them. And Dadhammer... First round at CanCon 2020, which is going to be 600 players, which Clint will murder me for saying, but that's okay. He can't hurt me because I'm in a different country. Scourge Privateers versus Devoted of Sigmar is game. I believe, have you taken a grudge there, which is kind of cool. Bone Splitters get 9. Man, 9's heaps. These guys have 5. So it's it's interesting. Now, we have the list, but first of all, Ricky, come on, like, man, how do we feel about this? How do we feel about Devoted of Sigmar getting second, surrounded by Hedonites and Blades of Khorne?
I am impressed because I try to imagine, like, if I was to take Git and just pare it down to 5 scrolls, how good I could do, and I don't see myself doing well.
Also with an allegiance that hasn't gotten anything in a very long time as well.
Yeah, do they even have alliance abilities, or are they just using Grand Alliance?
It'd be Grand Alliance Order. Using Anvil Guard, which is the make you retreat one, I believe. Like Anvil Guard's allegiance ability. We'll pull up the army list in a second. But the allegiance ability they were using is the one where I think in all of your hero phases, you roll a dice for each enemy unit in combat with you. And on a 5-up, that unit has to retreat. And if they can't retreat out of combat with you, they're destroyed. So it lends itself... Yeah, it's cunning. It lends
wrap yourself around them. And
which I believe... Let's have a look at it. Which I believe is the way that this army may be played for it. So let's have a look here. So
that seems kind of fun, actually.
So we're looking at 2 War Altars of Sigmar, a Warrior Priest who is the general with Legendary Fighter, so an extra attack, and then the Sword of Judgment.
Okay.
Obviously looking to kill heroes and monsters. Cool. You basically have your throw forward and fucking just mortal wound shit to death. Another Warrior Priest, another Warrior Priest, and a Knight Incantor. Then a grand total of 130 Flagellants, their only battle line option. Allies of 5 Evocators with Grand Staves, and then a Dies Arcanum and a Malevolent Maelstrom for the army, for a couple of endless spells. And to be honest, on paper, this list looks like hot shit. However, I gotta say, it probably outplays you in a way you don't expect, and John C, the player, probably knows it back to front and just absolutely took people apart. I'm impressed. I love it, and I'm excited. I'm excited that this is the world we live in. How about you?
I'm so in love with it, actually. Every time I sit down to write a new list with whatever army I want to check, I always do the Horde version, where I take, I want 40 of this and 40 of this and 40 of it and repeat. And how many of those can I get? And I've always been a Horde player. So, Skaven and the even when I was doing the dwarves, I was doing big blocks of 40 warriors.
Big chunks.
Yeah. So to me, this plays right up, tickles my pickle.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, yeah, man, look at those 130 models. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, that's it. 10 just to leave back on an objective, the rest to run forward. Vanilla just asked saying, poor LLV, his stats are basically just like the entire community seeing them and going, oh yeah, fuck you. Let's see what I can do to ruin that. Dad Hammer confirming on a 5-up, the unit's got to retreat, otherwise they're destroyed, which is death to hordes, because if you can wrap stuff so that it can't get out of ranges, destroy them. Elf Bro, Hayden in the chat, g'day you beautiful human, wonderful to see you here today. But yeah, and Dad Hammer pointing out that for privateers, you have some hero phase activation, so you can wrap stuff up in the hero phase so that it can't retreat, which is, that's solid. That's a real clever, like, kind of 1-2 punch there. But yeah, I dig it. I dig seeing it. It's ridiculous. It's not shooting. Yeah. It's not taking... It doesn't seem to be abusing anything. I just... Yeah. Wow. Fuck.
Yeah, I could see... So, can the... And I don't know the rules on allies very well. Can the evocators drop in...
No. No.
They can't do... Okay, that's cool. Because I was going to say, that would be pretty sweet to just drop them in behind whatever you just tar pitted.
Yeah.
And then they can't flee.
Stormcast outside of their Stormcast shit can't lightning strike, which means that like all of this deployed on the table. I love the DS Arcanum with a Knight Incantor as well, because it means the Knight Incantor can like summon it and then just be flying around the board capturing objectives as a hero. I think it's a weird list. I don't see how it did so well, but fuck it got second. And so we should praise and celebrate the fact that this bad boy pulled a second. That's hot shit. I'm all about it. I love it. I think it's great. It excites me. Is that okay? If you now, I know in the chat, Scourge Privateers will come up immediately. Ricky, if you could pick a random allegiance to like podium unexpectedly, what it would be? And chat, go right ahead. Whatever you reckon.
Free Peoples.
Free Peoples. You want to see a Free Peoples podium? That's not bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. It'd be.
I mean, it's not very obscure, but it would be super cool.
Yeah, it'd also just be great to see the regular humans of the mortal realms like pulling their weight for once. Like, that'd be good.
Can humans even win anymore?
No, not the way they win is by dying and coming back as Stormcast and then winning as Stormcast. That's how you win.
Yeah, I guess
so. Vanilla Sass saying Slaves to Darkness. Billy Ocean saying Shadow Blades, which I'm pretty sure is like just the assassin model. LLV going the other direction and getting himself banned from the chat for saying something that is unacceptable in an army that is perfectly reasonable to win an event and not surprising when they podium at all. Lugnut saying Bone Splitters. Beastclaw Raiders getting a good one. Eldritch Council I would love to see. So Eldritch Council is like wizard elves and sword masters basically. I'd be digging it. Billy Ocean saying that the Shadow Blades is the Assassin and Dark Riders, which would be an interesting one. Oh, good joke. Retisantanti. I'm never going to pronounce names right in this, and we just need to accept that that's the way it goes. Saying Britonia. Yep, good. Right? They're all pretty much flesh eater courts by this point, but still.
Yeah. I would love to see trogs, like a pure trog, no grots, no squigs, no spiders, just pure trog keyword, and trog off. Man, if somebody could podium with that, that'd be my hero. But
yeah.
I know I certainly don't have the skill to do it, but
I think trogs are still, even with the update, they're still a little bit over pointed for what you want them to do.
When you look across the books and you see how everything was like 10-point increments, and then you look at the rock cuts and like they went for 20. Oh yeah. They knew they were bad.
they were like, we just released a whole lot of sexy models that no one's going to use because we done screwed the pooch on here. But yeah,
can walking blender thrall mobs? Yeah, that'd be fun to see.
Yeah, just hordes of thralls walking towards you like with their little fucking pokey sticks and they're just carving you up. Collegiate Arcanum, or Vanilla Just Sass pointing out what I'm sure everybody in the world will do, which is just pick an allegiance that LLV hasn't had to add to the stats yet, and do that one. So yeah, like it was fun at CanCon at the start of this year when it was done by Mr. Paul Grixey himself, the Mortal Realms premier postman, the Swifthawk Agents player, who took them to their first event and went 3 major victories day one. One of which was on the stream, which was spectacular. But just being like, well, fuck you. Here's some new stats, and let's go crazy. But that's that. That's our really realistically. Let's be honest. Probably our one serious thing. We spoke about Warcry. This show obviously deals with the bigger questions of Age of Sigmar. One of which is coming at you right now. So be ready for it. Now, which character in all of the Mortal Realms, now this is to you, Ricky, and to you, the chat, which character in all of the Mortal Realms do you think is the most likely to vague book? And so for those who are unaware, vague booking is basically when you basically put a post up that's just like, oh, man, so disappointing when people you trust let you down. Because then someone's because someone's gonna reply and be like, "What do you mean?" Okay, so Nagash, we're saying Nagash is the most likely to vague book, and just like if he had maybe not social media, what would you have? You'd have scroll book, I think, not Facebook. It'd just be like a magical scroll that you opened and like people's and be like, "Oh my gosh, Heinrich is on the wall next to a Stormcast Eternal that was his dad." Yeah. Okay. So when they're on Scrollbook, who's the most likely to vague book? So we've got Nagash. I like that. I feel like Nagash is like when your grandparents get Facebook and they're not good at it. You know?
Yeah.
And
they would do. It's like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Yeah. They mean to send you a message, but they actually just like comment on your profile, and you're like, oh god, no, fuck. Gorelord's agreeing with Nagash. Dad Hammer's saying Nagash. Team A-Dub saying...
Sigmar, yeah.
Team A-Dub saying Korgus cool, which I totally dig. Like 100%, he'd post something like that would suggest maybe he's been to a concert, you know? Like, they'd be like, nobody else here really understands the music they're listening to.
Like, what is he talking about?
And then someone's like, wait, what music? And then they're like, oh, I'm just at a Rage Death black metal concert and no one knows what's going on except for me because they haven't taken it into their soul. That's Korgus cool, and I definitely like it. LLV coming in with a good one. Marathi. Ricky, how do we feel about Marathi vague booking?
Well, in which form?
Yeah, true.
Because I think when she's like in elf form, she's just gonna be doing like
selfies,
glam selfies, and like duck face all the time, right?
And then she goes snake mode and she just starts to like meanly comment on other shit. I think that's it.
Yeah,
that's her character arc on Instagram. Gorelord is saying Sigmar himself. See, I think Sigmar would more be like, you know when you see those rich kids that have like their first fucking job and they're just like, day one and this is my view. Man, it's so hard but so worth the effort. That's Sigmar. Sigmar's like that.
Yeah.
That like self-jerking off positivity type. That's him.
Yeah.
The Lugnut saying a Ghoul King. Yeah, I guess I'm feeling that. But do we think a Ghoul King can access the touchpad with nails that long? That's the question we have to ask ourselves.
Yeah,
he'd have to like break his fingers backwards to be able to do it.
So he has to write with his knuckle, and then by then he's so angry and morose.
Yeah. Vanilla Sass saying Techless, which I kind of like. I think Techless would always just be writing superior shit. You know, like I'm so much smarter than everyone else. Try to solve this weird mathematical equation. 90% of people won't get it right. Comment your answer. That's Techless. He feeds on the brain stuff.
Just lording it over all of us.
Dad Hammer saying Alariel would be terrible, which I quite like. Yeah, she'd probably just be like, these plants were born under the moon of blah blah, which is it.
Oh, yeah.
LV agree with you, saying Marathi is like, feel cute, might delete later. Because like she takes the photo when she's normal and then she's like, I'm a fucking snake. I don't want to be posting
and then she deletes it when she's in snake mode.
Yeah. Like, fuck me, that's all just a lie. I don't really look like this. Sigmar always saying #blessed. Yes. So that's obviously, this is why this show we deal with the hot button issues. We solve the stuff. Now, we will wrap it up shortly. We'll wrap it up shortly because you've generously given me such a big chunk of your night. But just a couple of quick last little things that we obviously need to talk about. And then we do have one more hot button issue to chat. But so you and I may potentially be teaming up, combining assets. Wait, can we talk about this? Can we say this?
Yeah,
we can. Yeah.
About all you want.
So we're potentially combining to cover an event at T-Shift, which is coming up in Bellevue next month, in about a month.
Next month, yeah.
Or just under a month.
Yeah, about 1 month.
Yeah. So we're going to be combining to bring, because you obviously are an element of Dimensional Cascade, which people can see scrolling along the bottom of their screens. Do battle reports and all kinds of stuff. So we're looking at potentially bringing you an event from the Honest Wargamer and Dimensional Cascade, which would be super fucking cool. We might it will be a bit of a test, would we say? Our first stage of human trials, yeah. So we'll be testing.
Emerging.
Yeah, that's it. It'll be just crowning. Our little hobby stream baby will be crowning. We'll see if we bring you an event, which would be really fucking cool.
Be a molder experiment.
Exactly, and we'll learn a lot. So we'll be looking at doing that together, which is really fucking awesome. I'm very excited about. And you are actually the man who I have spoken about a few times on this, because you make these incredible fucking gaming mats for Age of Sigmar. And again, I'm not... There is no... I just want to make it very clear, there is no form of paid partnership. There is no form of anything. I've played on one of these on a stream, and then a mate bought one of your mats, and I played on it a couple of times, and it's just fucking awesome. You make these really cool mats. They're very, very sexy. They basically look like a regular gaming mat, but then subtly onto them is like a dark grey stuff featuring all of the stuff. And I think they're fucking awesome. So for those that are interested,
well, thank you. Yeah.
And they're going to be on all the tables at this event as well, correct?
Yeah, so I took a full set to the event over the weekend that we just went to, and so all but one table was lined, and we had one table that was a very strong lava theme that we felt we might as well keep it lava theme.
Sexy,
but at T-Shift we're going to be doing a fully lined event, so that and then I'm also writing the tournament pack for that.
Wicked. Okay,
so,
cool.
So I'm picking, eventually it will be public, but I am picking 2 of the random ones.
Great.
Not necessarily because I'm trying to show off the mats, but because with the mats, the ones that are kind of random don't matter as much. They're not as hard to deal with, like the logistics of in-game.
15 minutes measuring shit.
Yeah, or worrying if somebody bumped it, or where, and you can also... because the circle is there, you can see where you need to be in case it does come down randomly someplace else. So I don't feel bad including those. Normally people complain about the random ones like Relocation Orb, but we played that this weekend with the mats, and yeah, it was great.
LOV in the chat saying if we can get pre-subbed list, he'll stat the shit out of it as well, which I know that the only way I like my stats is when they've been stat the shit out of it. So that would be cool. We could literally have the most accurate event on table, complete accuracy with measurements and everything like that. And then between armies, complete accuracy. We can bring you statistically the most accurate event of Age of Sigmar that's ever been run competitively. Which I
don't know about that.
No, that's nothing better than putting out a big call and being like, this is what's going to fucking happen. So I'm really cool. Looking forward to that T-Shift next month. I don't know if there's still tickets available. There might be.
I think it was close to sold out, if not sold out already.
Right. Well, so we might be just spruiking something that no one can go to. But if you do happen to be in the area and they've sold out, bother them. bother them. They might add more tables.
Yeah.
Who knows? And you just have to get more mats made so that we can cover all of them with your pretty shit.
You can set them up in the parking garage.
Yeah, good. Like cars will pull up, but you just dodge around the cars. It's fine. No one needs to worry about it. Now we obviously do have one last hot button issue, which I will ask both you in the chat at the very end of the show, because that's how we like. We are the show that deals with the important shit. So I like to make sure we end on that. However, I do also love to do just like shameless plugs. Rather than going like, oh, look, let's pretend that blah, blah, blah. What events are you doing? Talk to me about Dimensional Cascade. Just shamelessly tell me about the hobby shit that you're doing, because that's what I want to fucking hear. That's what we're here for and we love, right?
All right. So Dimensional Cascade, check us out on Twitch. We try to play at least once a week. Most likely it's Wednesday. We are, the majority of us are professional adults who often have to work late.
We have lives randomly outside of just hobbying.
So it's not every Wednesday and it's not every weekend, but we try to get at least one game a week and sometimes two. And there, we don't do a lot of setup and everything, but we do like to talk about what's going on and people can watch the game. And we'll probably, sometimes we do post event recaps,
coverage and stuff like that.
We've done a couple of those, I think. Yeah. And then yes, I sell the mats. You guys should check that out.
I personally I will just never stop singing your praises for them, because I play so many games of War Dollies, and then when I play a game on your mats, I'm like, oh my god, it's so easy.
It's one of those things where once they took pre-measuring out of the game, it's something we should have done sooner.
Yeah, definitely. It's like when you play with scenery dice for the first time, you're like, holy shit, this makes my life easy. I'll see. I think I'm going back to Australia later this year. I might actually get a couple to take over with me, just so that I could be like, welcome to the world of tomorrow.
Yeah, some people have contacted me from Australia and some other parts of the world, and I was like, I'd get quotes for them on shipping, and the shipping is more than the mats. By twice.
Unfortunately, we are a very isolated continent, so we don't do that kind of stuff particularly easily. Which is, that's just part of the fun of being from fucking Australia. Vanilla just asked in the chat saying people constantly ask and compliment about the mat that he has from you. So there you go. Any other last shameless plugs before we get to our last important hot button issue?
I can't really think of any if there's something I'm missing. Come to T-Shift if you can.
Yep. Lugnuts is abusing me, saying that I'd better be at Attack X. I will be at Attack X.
When is Attack X?
Attack X is when I will be in what's it called? Kamloops. Kamloops is the name of the place, and I know it seems ridiculous for an Australian to be thinking that the name of a location is funny because of how many weird, funny names we have for places, like Iron Knob. But it's good. Anyway, all right, let's finish. We're going to wrap up this show with our last hot button issue, because obviously the Australian Age of Sigmar Mondays, we deal with the important questions in Age of Sigmar that nobody else is asking. And this is it. And for I don't know if Gorelord's still in the chat. This is actually a Khorn themed issue that we are about to resolve, and we're about to come up with a definitive answer for. And that is that Khornates are known as the Blades of Khorn. How do we think that makes Khornate warriors who identify as hammer and mace or whip users inside of their own respective allegiance? Because they're called the Blades of Khorn, and realistically, if you've got a hammer, if you've got a whip, if you're hitting someone with a Morningstar or a mace, you are not...
Do you feel inadequate, or do you feel shamed?
Undervalued, perhaps, because you don't particularly remove the head in the same way as everyone else. Now, Gorelord, you're in the chat. I know that you will help us answer this. Anyone else in the chat? But yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like, how can Khorn, who is all about violence, effectively shun and silence an entire half of his people? Now, let's not forget that Games Workshop have released a number of models with hammers and gore fists and things like that. These are not blades. Ricky, how do we think they feel about it?
Well, I also feel like they must have. So the whole thing with Khorne is skulls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you, if you have a mace, you're going to crush the skull.
That's a good
point.
point.
Feel like you're, I feel like you're given the wrong tool.
Though potentially, does that mean that you can leave their entire upper body intact by pulping their insides?
I guess so. I mean, yeah, maybe you gain more glory in Khorne's eye by using a blunt instrument to pummel the body until death, and then, I don't know, somehow rip the head off?
I mean, let's put it this way, right? You remove the head with an axe. That's what it was meant to do. If you remove...
I mean, I could do that.
Totally.
You know, come on.
We all could. And let's not pretend we all haven't had that one co-worker that we've considered using it on. However, you remove someone's head with a blunt spoon, you are immediately elevated to Demon Prince status. So...
Yeah, so maybe these one, the people with the maces and whips... Oh, whip! Like, how do you kill someone with a whip?
That's
like
you choke them.
That's an investment of time.
Yeah, that's
an investment of time right there.
You whip them until they lose the will to live.
Yeah.
A socially aware Khornate, LLV is saying, would have called it the weapons of Khorne. Gorelord saying a crushed skull is as good as a whole skull, which I think is fair. But also saying prefers the hands. Now, I think that we've cracked it, Ricky. I think that between the two of us, we've cracked it. The actual solution is that Khorne, it's a litmus test. It's an intelligence test for Khorne. He's like, are they going to think inside the box and just use blades to remove heads? Or am I going to see some creative people? That's where we're at, I think. So, yeah. Yeah, good. Well, we've answered our final question. Anything last from you before we say goodnight for the evening?
You're cutting out on me, so I don't know what's going on.
No, I was just saying where it's time to say goodbye. I think by the sounds of things that the internet has decided it's time to say goodbye.
Yes.
Anything last from you before we turn it off and hand it over?
No, thanks for having me, and hello chat, goodbye chat.
Hello, goodbye chat, and if you are coming to Attack X or T-Shift, I guess we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, good night.
Cheers. See you later, everyone.